Hello, everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode of Sports Inside with your host, Alamdar Khan. And yes, we are always here to give you all updated information with regards to sports from all across the globe. You guys can surely reach out to us on our social media handle, which is at the rate of Indus News Sports. That basically works not only for Twitter, but also for Instagram. But anyways, we'll go to the headlines first. Yes, England versus India. England managed to win against India, which was super awesome. Now they are 2-1 up. And from the World of Champions League, Manchester United managed to win against Mönchengladbach, and which is a definite success for them, taking him to the quarterfinals. And yes, from the world of NBA, Miami Heat beat Cleveland Cavaliers 113-98. And yes, from the world of golf, the legend himself, Tiger Woods, actually managed to return back to his home after spending 3 weeks in the hospital. And yes, those were the headlines. And we'll definitely start from the world of cricket. And as discussed in the headlines, when England actually managed to score that victory by 8 wickets, and that was the third T20 match against India. And yes, India actually managed to score 156 for 6, but obviously that was 20 overs, and the phenomenal performance of England managed to take them ahead. But to discuss this, we have our cricket analyst, Mohammad Awais, with us. Awais, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum.
All right, Awais, we talk about how England have finally managed to take the charge and started to cruise towards the victory, because this was the third T20. And in the current scenario with regards to the ICC standing for the T20, obviously there's a big name, England and India. So how do you see the last T20 match?
It was fabulous, and the way England just bounced back, it has never been easy for any touring side when they're traveling to the conditions like India. They always have been struggling over there, whether if it's a test match. If you remember the test match between England and India, the pitch especially made a lot of, I would say, hype around the world. The pitch, the wear and tear of the pitch, the way it was spinning around. And when you're playing in India, you always need to be good, I would say, against the spin bowling because of the pitch conditions. I know the T20 much offers help to the batsman because it's the demand of the modern day cricket, and many of the English cricketers are playing regular IPL over there. They know how the pitch react on, and if you compare the English side, they have actually really built a strong English side in couple of years for the one days and the T20s in the white ball cricket.
Right.
They're now a more flamboyant kind of cricketers, and they're still lacking in the test matches, I would say. If you remember, if you just go a little bit years back, you remember, Alamdar, when we used to speak about the English test side. Now we speak about the white ball side because they have got some fabulous cricketers like Johnny Bairstow, the way he came back into the party. Mark Wood, a proper, I would say, you saw proper fast bowling artist today. The way he was furious, he was pacey. He broke the backbone of the Indian team, whether, Virat Kohli scored a 70 runs, but still he was able to win a match for India.
He even managed to score 77 not out for 46 balls. But then came Josh Butler actually managing to score 83 of 52 deliveries, not out.
See, Josh Butler, I remember when Jason Roy came into bat, the real problem, what I see, if I start from the Indian team, it's about the batting. Rohit Sharma, everyone knows how capable he is. He has been scoring fabulous runs for the Indians, wherever he plays on as an opener. And even he has proved himself as a captain too when Virat Kohli was not there leading the Indian side in the T20s. But it was KL Rahul actually. The opening department, KL Rahul did not perform well in all the 3 T20 matches because he's one of the players, I would say, one of the famous Indian cricketers, and he is one who has been consistently performing well for India. But this T20 series has never been good for KL Rahul. That was the weak link over the rest. I don't think so. The Indians, I didn't see any weak link over there, but it was just the opening department not performing well for you. And again, I will tell one thing that I know Virat Kohli is one kind of a batsman. Every team would obviously rely on him, but you need to be a team unit to win a match. And the way England yesterday won the match, especially with the likes of Josh Butler and Johnny Bairstow coming into the party, and everyone knows how strong they are, white ball cricketers.
Right. Let's talk about the bowling side, of course. Let's talk about how they managed to break the barrier. If you talk about Mark Wood performing and 3 for 31, and not only him, I think Ben Stokes Chris Jordan, things have been improving with regards to England's performance. Not definitely, it was a tie before the last T20 match that we're talking about today. And how do you see this being in favor of England for the future and the upcoming matches? Because the struggle still continues amongst both of these, because coming up to the number one and then staying in number one is the actual deal. So how do you see India fighting for that number one slot now?
See, I mean, you need to really fight, I would say, till the last ball, because if you want to maintain your number one position in the T20s or one-day test matches, you need to be a flamboyant kind of a team. And India is, everyone knows that the way they have been performing well around the world and what they're capable of doing, especially the batting, I would say, even the bowling has been doing a tremendous job for India. But still, I would say, I mean, like I mentioned in the start, that beating India in India is a great job for any team like England or I would say Australia or New Zealand, because they're not used to this kind of pitches. Yes, they are playing a lot of IPL over there, but still, that pitches when they, when a touring side travels to India, it's a friendly situation for India, and it's not easy to play against the spin bowling department over there. But they had done a superb job, especially the batsman I told you on, because it was on this kind of wicket. Still, I say that it was a tough target to win, because it was a 1-1 series draw, and obviously when you want to clinch the title after bad performances in the test matches, it's a tough time for team to come back strong. And the way they came back yesterday, won the T20 matches, obviously that would have built the confidence for the future series.
So as you mentioned, let's not even forget about the pitches. If we look into the stadium itself, it's obviously it inaugurated recently, the Narendra Modi Stadium in Ahmedabad, and it's a big stadium as well. And obviously it has a complete different soil to it. But as you said that, India would definitely be having that edge. Because if we look into the situation in India's performance, not to forget that they still have those moments of hiccups, but obviously they still have an edge. And I just had an interview yesterday with one of an Indian journalist with regards to, he was talking about how they're so looking forward to grab that victory. And obviously he also talked about the home soil edge. There are two more tests, there are two more T20s after this, obviously. Afghanistan, and how do you see that developing for England and India itself, and obviously India having that home ground advantage?
So I mean, obviously you would have learned from your mistakes what you have done in this match, and they would never allow the England or the other England to settle down in the next T20 match. And Ahmedabad Stadium, I mean, it is one of the largest stadiums in the world.
Right.
And I mean, I've seen that. I mean, yesterday it's a beautiful stadium. Again,
True.
no many matches have been played up over there. Obviously, it's a new stadium, new pitch. So I can't still say that how the pitch would react on when it goes on forward. The matches starts, many matches start to play on over there. But still, India would have obviously learned from the mistakes, and I think so personally feel so that now they need to make some changes in the opening department if they want to win the T20, because KL Rahul hasn't been performing well for them, and I feel that Mayank Agarwal could have opened up the innings with Rohit Sharma, because he's one of the strong contenders and he has been consistently performing well. The rest, if you just watch out the Indian team, they have got Rishabh Pant with them, the Iyer is there, Hardik Pandya. They have got a full proper a gelled up unit, I would say. Even Ishan Kishan is there, who has performed superbly well for them. So they're a proper gelled up unit. They know which player can play on which number and who can perform when needed the most. But it's just the opening department would need to change on.
Right. Let's hope this develops more into a solid thing for both of them, because we always want to watch the better side of cricket. Let's talk about another journey that recently was developing. Let's talk about Afghanistan versus Zimbabwe. We'll go back to the test matches. Obviously, they're playing that T20 for now. But let's talk about how Afghanistan actually managed to come to a point, giving a super strong fight in the test side to Zimbabwe. How did you see the second test?
Alamdar, I mean, I've played a lot of matches with Afghanistan for UAE, and I've played a short format cricket, I would say. I was not a test match player or a 4-day cricketer, but they're one of the strongest, I would say, a hard-working non-test nation. Now they have got a test nation spot with them, but when they never had that, they were one of the strongest, I would say, competitors in the ICC qualifying rounds too. I mean, you always could have heard 3 teams coming up strong. One was 4 teams, I would say. One was Ireland, right, Afghanistan, UAE, and Hong Kong coming up strong, or Oman in the ICC qualifying rounds, where Afghanistan they have played a lot of finals, I would say. The way they have been performing are hard-working cricketers, and many of them, even they belong from the areas of, they have been playing a lot of cricket here in Peshawar
True.
and they have played a lot of first-class cricket in Pakistan. So obviously that has groomed them. And
Right.
secondly, the coaches like Inzamam Bhai was the part of Afghanistan coaching team once. Rashid
Absolutely.
Latif was the part of the coaching team once. So the obviously the experience has gained. Even like the performance of Hashmutullah, especially I would say the
Exactly.
left-handed batsman.
True.
He's a brilliant batsman to watch on. I love the way he plays. Never saw pressure on him. The way he takes up the innings, just not in the he scored a double hundred, and
Right.
just not I would say the test matches, even in the one days and T20s. If you just watch him,
Right.
the way he performs, build up the innings. Never have seen pressure on that guy. That's what Afghanistan cricketers are. They are working hard, and that's the result they have produced against Zimbabwe, because Afghanistan is not much a test experience side, and coming back strong against Zimbabwe proved that what they're capable of. And Rashid Khan, he has been a superb again. I would say a leading bowler for the Afghanistan. He has been performing well, even if it's T20, one day or test matches around the world, and
Right.
he led the Afghanistan in the bowling lineup brilliantly.
Right. And I think the evolution, actually look at the evolution of Afghanistan's cricket team. Like you said, people like Inzamam ul Haq, obviously very senior cricketer, legend for us, Rashid Latif, them preparing this team. And obviously they weren't really practicing on the level of the test cricket. But then coming to a point of being that strong energy and a synergized team, because it was not only Hashmatullah Shahidi, but obviously if you look into Azhar Afghan's performance, the partnership that they took, and they came up to a point of 545, and after before declaring. So I think they're absolutely in the right direction, as you said. And while living in Pakistan, I'm sure, as you said, that most of them practiced in Peshawar, in Pakistan. The passion that we thrive for is definitely cricket, and I think it's somewhat related to to the region that we live in.
Alamdar, it's about the environment too. I mean, if you just watch out the Afghanistan cricketers who are playing the under 19s or the under 17, I mean, they have got a strong build.
Right.
And I mean, if you just watch out the way they perform, I remember they have actually groomed their batting, because if I quote an example, when we used to play in 2012 and 13 and 11 and 10, 2009, when we played against Afghanistan,
Right.
they were more flamboyant kind of cricketers who actually never knew how to rotate the strike much. They were actually more focusing on getting big scores, big boundaries, big. They never used to focus on actually building partnerships.
Right.
But if you just watch out this Afghanistan team, they have actually worked on themselves.
Right.
Now they are proper mature team. They know when to go big, and they know when to come into the shallow when needed. So they have got cricketers who actually have really worked hard on themselves, and who have worked hard to get Afghanistan to a test side, to a one-day status permanently in the ICC championship. And if you just watch out, many of the Afghan cricketers, I mean, they are playing around the world. I mean, many leagues. Rashid Khan is there. You got Mohammad Nabi.
Right.
He's a senior campaigner for Afghanistan.
Right.
You have got there was Hamid, who actually, unfortunately, I would say, due to the injuries, he has never been a regular part of the Afghanistan team. But they have got that cricketers who actually had worked hard, who struggled, and now they are partying around. I mean, they have got that
Definitely.
fabulous one day T20 side.
I'm absolutely impressed with their performance, to be very honest. But yes, there is more to come. So what we'll do is we'll take a quick break, and once we come back, Awais will surely be discussing the other perspectives of cricket. But anyways, I'll see you guys after the break. All right, welcome back after the break. Yes, we were talking more about the world of cricket and obviously how England managed to take their victory against India. But not to forget that Awais is still with us. And now what I'm going to talk about is an interesting perspective, because Pakistan Super League came to a point of a halt because of the COVID-19 situation in the region. But right now, PCB actually came up with their press conference, and obviously the owners of the teams, and they came up to a conclusion that they will continue the whole PCB perspective, the whole PSL perspective. Awais, how do you see this developing for PCB and PSL?
It's a good, it's a good decision, because everyone was heartbroken when the Pakistan Super League. I would say it was unfortunate due to the COVID-19 protocols,
Right.
and it had to come into end. And it was a heartbreaking moment for every cricketer, every cricket lover around the world. I mean, I could see from the faces even of when Wasim Khan was sitting in the press conference and speaking to the media. We could see from his face the shattered, I would say, heart when he was speaking out, because obviously, it's a hard work of a whole unit, I would say, day night they have spent on working on this Pakistan Super League. Got the broadcasters, finances being included up. Obviously, when it does not get concluded, it obviously hurts you. But at last, it's getting back to normal.
Right.
You're getting the Pakistan Super League in June. It's going to be a humid conditions. It's a hot month, and it's going to be played in Karachi, where you have got around temperature rises up till 48
Right.
and 47, and it's get humid too. So it's going to be again a good, I would say, piece of cricket, because till that time even the international players would be free from the Indian Premier League, because Indian Premier League to be played between April and May. So they
Right.
would be obviously free on that time, and it would be a good unit to watch on.
Right. But even if we talk, we definitely know the conditions that we talked about. That in the research that have recently come out, they've actually talked about COVID-19's transference, obviously on a slower scale with regards to the human. But not to forget that we still are thinking, and we've been hearing stories about the third wave as well. There have been a rise in numbers. Not only I know a lot of people in person who've actually contracted the virus recently. So this is alarming itself. But obviously, as you said, that it was a very hurtful situation when PSL came up to a halt. My question would be again: do you think if this situation goes to the worst side, how do you see that? Because let's not even talk about PSL. If we talk about Kashmir Premier League, obviously we've talked about that too. So all of these leagues, we want sports out there, we want to be out there, we want to enjoy that, but at the cost of, if the virus continues to grow as it's growing, how do you see that developing for the world of sports?
Alamdar bhai, it's up to Allah Subhanahu wa Taala when the virus gets over on, and it has really affected, around the world. The sports have been affected, even the humanity has affected. I mean, many businesses,
Absolutely.
they have been affected. Every I would say the thing in the world has affected by the COVID-19, and obviously, the Pakistan Cricket Board or the ICC are trying their level best to get the sports back to normal.
Right.
And I was happy to actually see crowd being back in the stadiums when the Pakistan Super League edition was played on. Unfortunately, due to the COVID, it was ended up. It's going to be played. Kashmir Premier League is a new tournament. It's going to be played in May,
Right.
and from 16th of May, and it ends on. It's a 10 to 12 days tournament, and that when ends on, it's a peak high. I would
Right.
say summer in summer, and then you got Pakistan Super League to be played in June. So obviously, I would say that. It's a tough thing for the Pakistan Cricket Board how they manage on, but news are that Pakistan Cricket Board are getting back the bubble, which was actually the bubble which was managed by the English team back in England, which actually managed the Pakistan versus South Africa series.
Right.
So they are in words with them. They would be obviously managing the Kashmir Premier League and the Pakistan Super League bubble.
Nice.
And rest the crowd. I mean, it's the crowd. I don't know. Still, the news are that the 70% crowd would be allowed in the stadium to witness the matches, but like you rightly
70%,
pointed out,
Avas, to be honest, 70% is still. For instance, if we talk about the situation of PSL, if 6 players and 1 staff member gets hold of it, and we have allowed 50% attendance in the stadium, don't you think that's a riskier thing, not only for the players, but also for the spectators out there?
see, I mean, players actually they don't have many attractions with the crowd. I mean, they're in the ground, and they go through 3 COVID tests, and they are actually in the bubble, so they can't travel outside and they can't meet the fans and all that.
Right.
Yes, I mean, you rightly pointed about the crowd. I mean, it's a, again thing that how does the Pakistan Super League management or the NCOC, how do they deal up with the crowd, because they really need to care about this, because I know last year, if you just remember, when the summer arrived, the cases actually gradually came down in Pakistan. And it's not a doubt to say that the Pakistanis have a good immune system. So the cases were a little bit down, but still the COVID wave 3, especially, it's a dangerous one. The way it has affected Pakistan too. Remember, Kashmir, many of the parts of the Kashmir are under lockdown. Kotli, it's locked down. Mirpur has been locked down. So
Right.
yes, slow and steady, you're getting the news over here. So it's going to be a challenge for the Pakistan Cricket Board and the NCOC and the Pakistan government. How do they deal with the cricket? I would say spectators. Do they get them into the stadium? Because you know one thing, Alamdar bhai, if you don't have spectators to watch the Pakistan Super League or the Kashmir Premier League, there won't be any good news for them to like. There won't be that charm what you want in the stadiums.
Right.
You want the spectators to be there, because if you remember, I can quote an example when Mohammad Amir was bowling right recently in the Karachi in the Pakistan Super League, when Mohammad Amir was pumped up, and there was a one video where he was actually telling the crowd to get him pumped up, and he takes a wicket over there.
Right.
About Babar Azam, the wicket was of, if I'm not wrong, of I just forgot. It was about Lahore Qalandariya, Fakhar Zaman, if I'm not wrong.
Right.
So that's what the crowd makes you pumped up. I mean, you want the crowd to be there because it's an energy for the players too, and it's a spectators' energy for every cricketer.
Right.
So it would be a heartbreaking incident if the crowd isn't allowed, but I hope so everything gets fine by the May and June.
Right. Let's hope for the best. Ames, I would just point out one thing and would love to hear your feedback on this. There were recent reports, obviously, with regards to the team selection that was announced for South Africa and Zimbabwe. Obviously, we have to visit the Proteas with their invitation. Obviously, we'll try to go there, but Babar Azam apparently was unhappy about it. Would you kind of shed more light on what exactly is that, he came up to a point of expressing his point of view of being upset about it?
Still, Alandarve, it's not yet confirmed that whether he was unhappy or not happy because, but one thing I'll tell you that the chief selector or the head coach do have a point to make that what team should be selected, but it's up to the captain because the captain really needs to sit in because the captain actually manages the field in the ground. The coach or the selector does not manage the field in the ground. The captain looks after his cricketers. So the captain really needs to be in the meetings, needs to be in this team selection because he's got everything to deal up in the ground for the cricketers. But one thing about the selection, I'm happy that youngsters are getting included, but on the other hand, why I'm not happy, it's because a guy who, I can quote an example of Dani, a guy from Multan Sultan. He's a fabulous cricketer,
amazing
a hard
cricketer, indeed, yes. Amazing
performed well in the domestic structure, came for the Pakistan Super League, but it's too early to get him into the test ball cricket. I mean, see, you have examples. Where's Naseem Shah? Naseem Shah had gone through stress fracture, had gone through injuries. He was never back to the Pakistan team. Musa Khan, where is he gone? He was one of the prominent cricketers. What Waqar Yunus used to say that he's one of the pacey, hard-working cricketer. We want to see him in the Pakistan future. We just made him play against Australia. Now where is he gone? I don't want this to happen with Dani. I don't want this to happen with the other cricketers, the guys who have picked up for the Pakistan team. And see, if you're picking them up, pick them up in your conditions, in your home conditions, because they play over here. This is really, I don't know what was in their mind that getting them to play in the conditions like South Africa. Pakistan has never struggled in the conditions where the ball swings. They have always struggled in the conditions where the ball has, where it's a bouncy track. In the Australia, and if you just watch it in New Zealand, South Africa, Pakistan has always struggled over there. So it was really, I don't know how would they cop up over here. Then there was question about Sharjeel Khan getting into the side. See, I know whatever happened on Sharjeel came back. He did not play cricket for 3 to 4 to 5 years. He comes back strong. He plays the Pakistan Super League. He performs well in the Pakistan Super League for Karachi Kings. Everyone had an eye on him because if you remember, there was a tie between Sharjeel and Fakhar Zaman. And I could see from Fakhar Zaman's face when he was playing for Lahore Qalandar the way he started to perform the two matches because he knew that the pressure is on me. I need to perform and get back into the Pakistan team. But
let's honestly hope, Awais, that things formulate in a better way for the team itself. Well, thank you so much for being with us on the show and sharing in a lot of knowledge.
Thank you.
This was obviously the major updates with regards to the world of cricket. We'll quickly jump over to the world of Champions League. Yes, with regards to Champions League, Manchester United actually managed to win against Borussia Mönchengladbach, and they actually managed to score 2 goals. So now they've actually jumped into the quarterfinals. So I hope this actually is another step towards their victory, and hopefully we would definitely want them to step ahead because this is the kind of performance that you actually want from a team. Well, this was from the Champions League. We'll quickly switch over to the world of NBA. Yes, with regards to the NBA, Miami Heat actually beat Cleveland Cavaliers 113-98 on Wednesday. And the Heat have actually won straight 5 games and 11 of its last 12 games. So they are actually going step by step on the standing to the upper side, which is definitely good for them and the team. And the last news that I would shed, which is obviously from the world of golf. Yes, Tiger Woods, we actually remember him having a very terrible accident, but finally he's returned home after 3 weeks in the hospital. And the good part is, thinking about him as an athlete, as an inspiration, as a legend, obviously it was technically very hard, but obviously he went through those surgeries of his leg, but now he's finally back home, and definitely knowing the kind of person, the kind of visionary, the kind of legend he is, he surely is keeping himself fit, and that's probably one of the reasons he's back. But anyways, these were the major updates from the world of sports. If you guys want to reach out to us, you can on our social media handle, which is @IndusNewsSports. Till then, take good care of yourself, and bye-bye.